Test, test, test. Hello, this is James Robinson, and this is the Extrinsic Value blog. Today we're going to talk about our July performance for our stock fund. In July, the market was marginally profitable, and we were also profitable, though this month the S&P did outperform us. My fund started the value at $10.17 a share and ended the month at $10.42 a share. This means I had a gain for the month of $2.48 a share, or I'm sorry, 2.48% for the month. By the way, the next video I'm going to make is going to be explaining how I've come up with this price per share for my stocks and how that's going to work going forward, so you'll have a better understanding. So anyways, the up 2.48% for the month changes my total performance for the year since January 1 to up 4.2%. As of last month, I was up 1.7% as of the end of June. My annual rate of return is now 10.03%, which is starting to get respectable. We're still trailing the S&P 500, which is up about 10.8% for the year, 10.5% for the year. As of now, we are 92% invested in the market with 8% in cash. In terms of performance against a benchmark, the S&P 500 was up 3.62% for the month, eclipsing our 2.48%. This month, we are not able to convert any stocks from short-term to long-term. That means none of the stocks in our portfolio had appreciated 15% from their purchase price, which is kind of our threshold. We try and buy stocks that we think are priced below market, and then when they go up 15%, we sell the stocks, keep the profits invested in the stock, and then look for new stocks to buy. So none of the stocks went up our threshold 15% for the month as of the end of the month. As a result, we converted to no new stocks were added to our positions. So here's our updated holdings and the ratio of the funds. And these 15 stocks, again, make up my active portfolio. I plan to hold these stocks until they go up 15%, at which time I will keep the profits in the stock and reinvest the original principal plus any dividends earned in other new positions. So this is my permanent holds. These are the profits that I have siphoned off. So if I bought, for example, when I bought Gilead Sciences at X, it went up 15%. I sold the stock, my original investment, I kept the 15% in Gilead stock. And so these are the profits that this year that I have managed to siphon off the profits from. At the end of the month, there were 14 positions in my permanent portfolio, and they account for about 10.1% of the total fund now. Cash report of the course of the month, we didn't add any new cash to the portfolio in terms of additional investments. So the number of shares I owned stayed constant. 9 stocks paid dividends in the month, and the amount was negligible in terms of the cash on hand. Total dividends equated to about 1/3% of the portfolio's value. Basically, my cash on hand remained constant. Again, my goal is to be virtually 100% in stocks. As of today, we're about 8.3% in cash. So I'm decided to start talking about dividends because I think they're overlooked as a measure and as a definition of profitability. Again, one of the things that I look for in a company is a company that is throwing off profits and thus has to do something with that money. And one of the things most of these companies seem to do is pay dividends. And it's a good source of new funds to invest in other new investments. So here's a chart for the dividends paid so far for the year. The good news is our dividends do seem to be increasing quarter after quarter, month after month. This is due to several factors. First, our firms are in general raising dividends. And again, just every once in a while, one of them raises their dividend, it kind of adds up to an increase for all of them, or an increase in the amount we're receiving, I should say. We also, the inactive portfolio is growing, which means that we're having new stocks that are paying us dividends on top of, because of our investments. To date, we've been paid dividends of about 1.34% of our invested funds. July was our best month by far. It was, however, the first month in the quarter, and that month tends to have a higher payout ratio. So in terms of research, it may seem counterintuitive, but I don't consider the act of buying and selling stocks to be what I do. That's really a byproduct. What I do, where I think I create value, is in research and evaluating the fundamental attributes of companies. If I do that well, the buying and selling should take care of itself. My goal has been for the full year to analyze 3 stocks per day. It may seem like a lot, but it really isn't that much at all, because most of the companies I look at, with a very, very quick look, I'm able to rule out as stocks that I want to pursue, and so I only have to spend time on a fraction of the companies that are in the market. So something like 80% of the companies I look at have so little appeal that I rule them out almost instantly. I'm really looking for solid companies, at least in terms of past performance, and they're pretty easy to identify if you just do the homework. In July, I only analyzed 5 companies, and I know that I'm trying to do 90 companies, but I've had a bit of a snafu. My data source, I've got a spreadsheet with tens of thousands of cells, and the data source that I use to populate that with every new company is from a company called Guru Focus, which is an online website that does a great job and has 30 years of history, financial history on all of the stocks that I'm interested in pursuing. The problem is that they're in the process of reconfiguring their spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet is what I basically import into my spreadsheet. And when they change a single cell, it screws up my entire spreadsheet. And they've been in the process of reconfiguring that for weeks, and I can't get a clean and permanent version of the data that I need. And so I've been using that time that I used to spend analyzing stocks to do some other stuff that I'm going to be creating new videos on over the next 2 or 3 weeks. And so more about that later. I'm not analyzing companies right now and won't until Guru Focus gets their act together. At some point, I probably will have to replace Guru Focus, but for now, I think it's a temporary thing, and I'll wait till it's finished. So that's where I am in terms of analyzing stocks. Effectively, we've been analyzing stocks for 47 weeks as of the end of July. To date, I've analyzed 866 companies. That works out to 2.87 stocks per day. 161 of those companies were what I think are solid companies, about 18.2%. Of those, about 36 are cheap enough to consider buying at today's prices. As it stands today, 4.2% of the companies researched are attractive in terms of fundamentals and price. And that number seems to be pretty consistent week in and week out, month in, month out. So, in summary, stocks invested are up. My stock investments are up about 2.48% for the month. We underperformed the S&P 500 by 1.5% for the month. No companies passed the 15% appreciation threshold and became long-term investments. No new companies were added to the permanent portfolio, giving me 15 active stocks in the fund. Cash increased to 8.2% of assets due to dividends and profits from trades. We researched 5 new companies, found 0 new solid firms to track, and found 0 stocks cheap enough to warrant buying and considering further research. And that's where we are as of the end of July. And I know I've been taking my time in getting this done because I've been working on some other projects, but I expect in the next couple of weeks that I'll get those reports out in August. Thank you very much.